Commissioners Court to order. At this time, please rise, and Commissioner Beecham is going to give our invocation.
Pray with me, please. Dear gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we just come to you as a humble people, Lord, seeking your guidance and your direction. Lord, we pause for this time to think of our fallen colleague, Lord, Doug Pendleton, who sadly passed from us this past week, Lord. Lord, we pray your blessings on his family. We just pray that you would be with them and give them the mercy and kindness through this time, Lord. Lord, we pray for so many in our county family and friends of the county who are ailing and hurting right now with various diseases and going through various treatments, Lord, that sometimes keeps them down. Lord, we just pray your strength for them. We pray your comfort for them. Lord, we pray for this court, Lord, that we would do your will this morning. We would honor you with our thoughts and our decisions, Lord. Lord, we just pray for the protection of our first responders and our military, Lord. And Lord, we pray that you'd be with us all on the court as we travel to Austin this week. Lord, that you just keep your watchful hand on us. We pray all these things in Jesus' name. For his sake I pray. Amen.
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 All right, let's do the pledge of the U.S. flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the pledge to the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, everyone in seat. All right, at this time, I'd like to ask Pam Hibbs to come up, as well as Tommy Smythe, our tax assessor collector. Oh, right here. So this morning, we'd like to recognize Pam for being the Employee of the Month for Wichita County in June 2023. And I asked Tommy to come up to give him the chance to say a few great things about the great job Pam's doing and why she was awarded this award.
You know, Pam was here when I got here, judge, commissioners, elected officials in 2013, and she did a crackerjack job running her plat office forever today. But when we changed operations there, she took the Burknett office, I don't know, like 2015, 16, something through there. So she's had that about the last 7 years or so and does a great job. There's one thing, and we're going to recognize Kitty here in a minute, but Pam runs our Burknett. She's the face of our field office. And I haven't yet, don't think I ever will, sit up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat and then we worry about Burknett or Island Park or Electric because they're run by a very competent staff. But Pam does, she can do it all, motor vehicle property tax, has a great relationship with our motor vehicle dealers. And she's just a great steady hand. She exemplifies what good county.
That's excellent. Has your life gotten any busier the last couple of months?
Yes.
On Burknett? Well, on behalf of the Commissioner's Court, on behalf of the entire county, I want to present this to you. Just a plaque honoring the June 2023 Wichita County Employee of the Month. And thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Okay.
How's my hair look, Dave?
Perfect. Get a little less every day.
Got two pays moving south.
Thank you very much. And Tommy, I ask that you stay.
Good job, Pam.
She does a great job, Jeff Court. She really does. We fixed to get another one up here. Does a great job.
Oh, Tommy has it.
Oh, you have it.
Back here, Judge.
I'm gonna let you read. I'm not gonna get choked up talking about Kenny.
So at this time, I ask Kenny Gregory to come up as well. So I will read this certificate of appreciation to Kenneth E. Gregory for 10 years of service to Wichita County. Congratulations on reaching this milestone service anniversary. Through your hard work, dedication, and loyalty, Wichita County is able to provide quality service to the citizens of Wichita County. In honor of your service, you may order a gift of choice from the black folder you will receive with your certificate. And then please accept your gift as an expression of our gratitude for the contributions you continue to make every day On behalf of the Commissioners Court, we commend you for your service and wish you every success as you continue your career toward your next milestone. Your commitment to Wichita County is deeply appreciated. I didn't get choked up, I did okay. So, 10 years of service.
Yes, sir.
Seems just like yesterday, I'm
It
sure.
does.
Literally does for me, but.
Jokes all day.
Before I say anything, would any of the commissioners like to say anything?
Well, I want to say how much Kenny's appreciated, especially at Electra. He's a game changer for us up there and always keeps us posted, and I feel safe with Kenny in the office all the time, so thank you for everything you do for us in that realm, Kenny.
Thank you, Commissioner Wise.
We still remember Kenny when he was young,
So I remember in my first couple of weeks here, I was going over to Commissioner Watts, and I think I was asking a question about, I was just trying to get the lay of the land and asking, so what's the deal out in Electra with the office out there? And Jeff goes, Judge, make sure you be quiet, Nancy. It's Nancy and Kenny. No, I wasn't even thinking that. I was just giving but I appreciated the heads up. Kenny, thank you for the job you've done for the last 10 years. Looking forward to the next 30, 40, 50.
Ish.
Tommy, you want to say?
No, Kenny's, I can't say enough about Kenny. On any given day, me and Ken's only two of us, and the rest of our offices of the other flavor, so on any given day, me and Kenny look like Travis and Crockett. But no, we've got a great staff, and, but Kenny can do it all. He property taxes, motor vehicle. He builds the majority, if not all, of our lesson plans for all our in-house training. He's our quartermaster. What he does with relationships with all of our vendors, all those relationships he keeps tuned up. We're very happy about that. And he's just one of the guys that you can ask Kenny. If I was asking Kenny, I need an aircraft carrier, he'd call back 20 minutes later and say, boss, I found one 20 minutes southwest of Dundee. I mean, he did fine. It's just a treat to have Kenny on staff, and he had prior service with David's sheriff's office, and we were able to pick him up in the first round draft, and he's the second person that I hired in county government. And the judge asked me a while back, he says, Tommy, how long did it take to change the culture in your office? And I said, Judge, I mean, it's hard to say, but I will tell you this. You change the culture in any office, and all elected officials certainly try to do this. You change the culture by hiring good people. And we're very lucky to have Nancy and Kenny both in county government. I say that when he steps to Wichita County Courthouse, but he's just a great guy, and we all got a great staff. We appreciate y'all letting us recognize him in court this morning.
Well, and I know that I told Tommy Kenny this story, but you know, you were very proactive, and y'all had a game plan from the get-go with the transition of what has happened in the tax office and needing to spread out and move. A guy asked me in line at the grocery store, can I be able to go get my tags at Iowa Park, or can I go to Wichita still? And I didn't even get the chance to answer. Everybody else in the grocery store knew the answer. So you did a great job with that, getting that word out, and I know y'all spent a lot of time building that stuff. But great job.
You didn't mention the most important title, Grandpa.
Right? Yes.
That's
Yeah.
important.
Him and Nancy both are relatively new grandparents, they certainly are.
He's not only one of our finest employees, he's also the finest musician in Wichita County.
Oh,
Yeah.
He is. I've had the pleasure of playing with you
right
several
back at you,
times. and-
Commissioner Beecham.
Can I
Well,
get a picture?
yeah. We'll let you hold it.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
Hey, y'all don't need to run off.
It's Tommy's birthday today.
Yeah, it is.
Good.
Yeah, I turned 57 today.
No, you better try that one again.
Yeah.
Add some, add some.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Tommy. Congratulations.
Happy birthday,
Thank you,
Tom.
guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Courthouse security's got a cake for you down there or something, Tommy. Courthouse security's got a cake.
Oh.
Took out somebody's purse, I don't know. Put all the pounds in there, Tommy.
All right.
Plus 3.
Always a fun start.
38.
Second.
All right. It is currently 10:11, and we will open up some time for public comments. As a reminder, we ask that folks keep their comments to 5 minutes or less, and no action will be taken by the court on any items brought up during this time. I have one public comment, just as a public service announcement. Court will not be meeting this coming Friday, nor Monday of next week. We will be meeting on Tuesday of next week. So for everyone who makes this appointment viewing in their weekly calendar, we won't be meeting on Friday or Monday. We'll be meeting on Tuesday at 10 a.m. of next week. Any other public comments?
I'd like to make one statement.
Sir.
And I was hoping the media was here today, but not. On my social media, if any of y'all follow anything about Precinct 2, I'm pretty aggressively commenting about trash being dumped in the county roads. I've expressed it here in court several times. We had it's probably been 3 or 4 weeks ago now, we had some people dump off a lot of trash in Gilbert Creek, which is on the east side of Burke. Actually, after we just cleaned up some there at Gilbert Creek, but I had some citizens call. They had complained about it. Also, they had actually done a little bit of looking at it and said that they had found maybe some names in the trash also, which I've asked the law enforcement and citizens to help us finding that kind of stuff. Any witnesses? We called in, we made a report on it. We also, Jared Burchett from Precinct 2 Constable, he contacted me, said he would be more than happy to take on that investigation and pursue it. He was able to go through, find some names in it, track them down. He took statements from people. He took statements from landlords in Burke where they had some apartments cleaned out, hired people to do the work. He was able to track down the people that did it, get statements from them. And after we had to get an excavator, dump trucks to get all that stuff out of there. It wasn't something that you could get out easy, so it cost the county lots of money again, time and labor to go do it. But we did get 2 felony arrests on that. I think that's a big deal. One of them I know has been arrested. I'm not sure about the second one, but we need to continue having county residents get involved and help us. Call in when they see stuff, call in if they know who's doing this. I just want to put a shout out to the citizens that called in and a shout out to the county constable that took the time to do this. I really appreciate that, and I just want to thank him publicly for doing it.
The dumping in the creek, you might holler at Commissioner Murphy. He had a boat dumped off on one of his roads last week.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you spend the time to track it down, it makes it worthwhile. But nowadays, the weight of it, if it's over 200 pounds, it's a felony. If you dump it in a river, a stream, a creek, it's a felony. So, just try to combat these illegal dumpers.
It's a problem all over, everywhere.
And it takes a lot of county money to pay for the cleanup. People don't realize how much money it takes.
Hopefully this will help spread the message that we're serious about this, and you do it, you can expect harsh consequences. So,
Right.
One comment, Judge.
Yes, sir.
If the citizens in the rural areas are they see anybody driving picking up a trailer full of limbs and crap on it, headed out of Olive Park, Burke Electric into the country, they need to call somebody, because I've stopped many people and all of a sudden they forgot where the Olive Park dump is. They couldn't figure out where it was at. And it's unbelievable, the stories, and I like watching them start dumping it, and I'll pull up there and I'll tell you, load it back up, you're going to jail. And I'll write a ticket, and it's pretty simple. But the patrol guys always look for that too. And of course, you know, they drive by, they're not going to stop if they see a marked unit. So it's always hard to catch them. But some of these areas that like Gilbert Creek, it'd be nice to be able to put some kind of surveillance system up there.
Right.
You know,
We've been getting hit real hard lately here in Cameron Gardens and Cox out that way.
Yeah.
We've had them literally unloading demo debris in the middle of the road.
Yep.
Just pull up there and unload it in the middle of the road and take, it's just a lot of demo debris, not just, I'm talking a trailer load.
I had that on Hammond Ranch.
Just costs the taxpayers
Well,
a lot of money.
the truth of it is they're not driving more than 5 miles maximum to go dump it somewhere from where they come that started from.
Right.
So they're just lazy, don't want to pay the fees.
Thank you, Dave.
And the deputies have been very good when we call them. They'll go knock on their door.
Yeah.
And that makes a difference. So,
They get excited when they find a name.
yeah. They've been very good about following up on that.
And thank y'all for sending the patrol to look after my grader while it was broke down out in the county. It disappeared on them too, so it got fixed and we didn't Didn't tell y'all. But you were quick to notify me.
That's funny. Any other public comment? Nancy, anyone on?
No.
Sorry, start. All right, it is 10:16 and public comment is closed. At this time, we will move to the consent agenda. There's two items I'd like to address in the consent agenda. Item number 3, I would like to pull down to general business for more discussion. And then item number 14, I would like to, sorry, I need to clarify. Item number 3 is the motion to approve payroll filing penalty of $50,000 for late filing on payroll taxes. And then item number 14, I would like to delay this a week. This is the motion to approve one of 2 proposals from Higginbotham for crime insurance policy for the county clerk's office. Still trying to get more information from TAC. I think this would be duplicating some coverage we already have. So while I get more information, I'm pulling item number 14 off as well. Does anyone have any questions or?
Item 15, is that a new expansion of our bond?
Yes, so right now we've covered both the county clerk and the district clerk. Any liability they might incur has been covered through self-insurance. This would be adding bonds.
Adding a new bond,
to
okay.
both of those
Got it.
offices.
But this makes them eligible to be on our official policy with TAC. They have to be bonded,
They had to
right?
be-
Yeah.
Right, that's correct.
Yeah, they
Okay,
weren't.
they were not.
And they were not. We were
Okay.
doing the reserve for, we were self-insuring them for
Okay.
any.
And that was probably covered with or lines determined by the county auditor, but item number 7 on the motion to approve detains professional services. Thank you to Chief for reminding us of this on Friday. 2,000 of that, the sheriff's office was going to pay for, and then the other 2,000 was going to be paid for from.
Yeah, their total bill was $12.55
Oh,
for
okay.
this service, so
How much was that total bill?
$12.55 is what they billed for their services to do whatever they did on that project.
Not 4,000?
No,
No, that was the bill we got, total of $12.55.
We got this guy.
There's a couple of different bills they sent, but I think it was only $1,255 for their work on the workshop.
no, that's a different
No.
one.
That's a different plan.
This is
No,
for the
detain.
detain contract reviewing the health services
Oh.
of Core Health.
Sorry.
Back up.
Well, they said number 8, so.
No, item number 7. So item number 7, I'll just
Gotcha.
amend it to say, for a health services review, the amount of $4,000 to be paid from
DCI.
general fund contingencies, sheriff's office,
To be paid from general fund contingencies with a reimbursement of $2,000 from the DCIF. Right. DCIF.
Motion to approve consent with the noted changes.
hold on, I think we've got some questions.
Yes, the clarification on number 6, that is for Commissioner Fincannon, but that is dealing with the trade-in of skid steers. And it is a Precinct 2 Caterpillar skid steer getting traded for a John Deere skid steer.
Yeah, instead of tractors, they need
Yeah.
skids
Just so.
on both tractors. They need to be skid steer.
All right, I restate my motion with the noted change.
Oh, second.
All right. Before we do that, I've got one question on number 4, Commissioner Watts, the precinct 4 fence and everything. We weren't gonna hit, were we gonna hit the deductible for property insurance for insurance to cover any of that, or is that the 75?
No, it's
Okay.
75.
All right.
This does, Judge, include, actually where our fence was breached and was cut was within 2 foot of Lee's request for double gates to go toward the tower. So we're going to go ahead and install those double gates that initially take us to service the tower initially. It won't over its life, but it was needed for the construction.
All right. So we have a motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Fincannon, to approve the consent agenda as amended. Do we have any other comment, questions on the consent agenda? All right. Motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. All right. General business item number 1. Review and approve the regular bills for payment. Order county treasurer to disperse payroll and bill payments within 72 hours via U.S. mail, FedEx, UPS, or electronically, unless directed otherwise, or may be picked up and ledgered in the treasurer's office. As I said on Friday, just reminding everyone, I will be abstaining from voting on this item.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Fincannon and seconded by Commissioner Beecham to approve payment. Do we have any other comment, questions on this item? All right, the motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, with 4 yeses and 1 abstention, the motion passes. Item number 2, discuss, consider, and/or take action to authorize county clerk to open a checking account for Chapter 19 funds, which will be used for the purpose of depositing and/or expending funds for voter registration, and to approve transfer of $500 from 1004030-501-100 to open this account. This was previously approved in court order number 23.0703.396. Cheryl, do you want to speak to this one?
Yes, I did a lot of extensive research on this, and there is no statute that provides the county clerk or voter registrar to have control over a bank account with any county funds in it. Well, $500 is in fact county funds. This is a reimbursable amount from the state, so we would have to pay for the expense outside of the day-to-day operations of the registrar's office, and then get reimbursed from the state. The state doesn't have to reimburse it, but they can. The money is to defray the cost of additional things to promote voter registration. Everything in the off the Secretary website says it is money to be paid to the county, not to the voter registrar. Any county funds has to be under the control of the treasurer's office per local government code 113. Any county funds expended has to be approved by the county auditor, the county court, and then the commissioner's court, and then dispersed by the treasurer. So opening up this account takes county funds out of the control of the county, and I can't find any statute that says that this is allowed in any way.
So, Annette, when you came and brought this item before the court, I think there was a couple of problems, may be the wrong word, but there were a couple of issues that you were trying to address that you were having trouble getting clarity on or seeing. Do you mind speaking to that, of what you were trying to address? And I think so that the court can see if there's a way to square that circle.
Yes, the issue was that I was getting reimbursed by Chapter 19 funds. I was getting notification, but I was never seeing if it was deposited into account. Beginning of the year, treasurer, auditor took over to my accounts. And the reason being is because they were attached to line numbers. Well, Chapter 19 is not attached to line numbers. And according to the state representative I spoke to, said it was state money, not county money. So I just need a simple account that I can control, not really control, but to pay back, or maybe give us some money ahead of time to go travel for some of our conferences. So.
Okay, and I think even from reading the stuff that Cheryl sent to us, advanced travel is one of the things that is authorized and covered by
Sure.
the Secretary of State.
But it's actually faster to do advanced travel through us than it is to file with the state and then also send in receipts. You have to do the work twice. But yes, they do advanced travel.
For the purposes of, you wanted to be able to know when the information, or when monies had been
Was
deposited.
deposited
in.
into the account and then entered back into my budget line.
Right, so,
And it hasn't been done.
no, that is true. We did find where it was and we do need to fix that. But what I did find in the research was that it actually has to be in its own fund, accounted for in its own fund on the general ledger, which has not been done. So that will be corrected. And so then it'll show any expenditures and reimbursements, and that we can give access to the voter registrar to monitor the incoming and outflowing of that fund, as has to be required by the state, so.
So it's never been its separate fund?
It is not, and it is required to be a separate fund on the general ledger.
But that's,
And
But
budget,
it could be in this, it could be in the same account, in the
Bank
same bank
account.
account number, or it can be its own bank account.
but that's true, but it has to be on its own fund on the general ledger, like any other grant fund or any fee fund that we collect. It has to be shown and tracked separately on the general ledger, so.
But prior to, so just so we're on the same page here, Annette, you've always dealt with the checkbooks in the county clerk's office.
Yes,
Now, we've done that since you've been there.
right.
And then now.
Right, so there is a local government code 113 says any account with county funds must be controlled by the county treasurer's office. So that's why those bank accounts with any county revenue or fees collected or anything that comes in that is going to become part of the county, whether it's revenue or whatever, has to be under the treasurer's office. So that has been removed per the statute, yes.
Okay, she removed my checking accounts from my understanding when I spoke to Cheryl's, because those two checking accounts were attached to line numbers. Okay, fine.
Right.
So I was able to keep my cash bound, because they're not attached to line numbers.
Right, that's
And this
it's
chapter
money that
19
belongs to
fund
someone
wouldn't
else.
be attached to line numbers either.
Right, but the money has to be expended from somewhere, so you have to use county funds to pay the expense first,
Okay, so
and
what
then
if
it
I
gets
were to-
reimbursed, so
So what if I
it's,
were to pay for the conference of my own funds
sure.
and then let them
I
reimburse
mean,
me?
but
So
what about
then-
all the other expenses? I mean,
It
you're
wouldn't,
gonna,
but it's not for every other expense, it's just for a conference.
but why wouldn't you file for reimbursement from the county anyway and get it, and then, rather than pay for it up front?
I guess,
The logic doesn't make sense.
I guess what I'm hearing, we're trying to get to the bottom of, it's a reimbursement account.
Yes,
Always has been,
Yep.
and that's still the case. But for the purposes of, you do need to know, you or the voter, whoever's in the voter registrar
Right.
position, maybe an elections
Right.
administrator will be that person, needs to have line of sight to inflow and the outgoing of the money that's coming into that account. That's the main issue here. Yes, no?
Yes.
And Judge, you
Well-
realize that we do the advertising for vote, for whatever, please sign up to vote.
Yeah.
We've historically done that annually out of those funds.
correct.
Right.
Like the county approves to pay for it out of county funds. So that's county funds. It's gotta go through the proper approval procedures. Then the money coming back to defray that cost should come back to the county because that's who upfronted the money.
I really don't
I do-
understand why the.
But there is no statute that says that they can have that controlled. Like, there are statutes that give special permissions for the sheriff's office, for inmate DCIF, this forfeiture. There's statutes for the CDA for forfeiture. There is no statute that gives this authority to that office.
But in the system, I do have the option to make the check payable to another entity, not necessarily the county. So say if I do,
But we're gonna
post
get the
my
funds from.
election, post my election, I can make the check and pay them with that check. They'll make the check out to that entity, and I can just send the check over to the Burke-Burnett paper or elector, whichever the case may be.
Sure.
I don't have to do it this way,
Right, but we upfront the cost on that.
right? But it doesn't have to be.
But great, so if we're not gonna upfront the cost, who's going to pay for the initial expenditure?
They'll
I
wait for the
think the
check, and I
ultimate
can send
thing-
the check over.
But
to
it is
the
a
entity.
reimbursable.
Yeah, Commissioner Fincan.
When they took the checking accounts away from you,
Which is,
I have a quick question about that. Were those checking accounts, do they have a monthly fee or anything attached to them?
No,
So there's no monthly fee either way?
No.
Okay. The way it's been done, you haven't been doing it correctly anyway. It hasn't been in its own standalone deal, right?
Right, which
Okay,
we need
that's
to
good.
fix that.
So when you took the checking accounts from her, did she have access to view the totals anytime she wanted to?
They were they were commingling those funds
I think
with,
that's the overall problem.
Right.
But I
And
couldn't,
they were
I
commingling.
could log into the
but
bank
she can get
system.
the information from the Secretary
The
of
problem
State
I see,
already.
I don't care about that. The problem I
We're
see is
talking
you
about
have
the
an elected
accounts.
official that had these accounts, you took them away from her,
Right.
and not give her access to look at them.
Because they're,
They're her
they,
funds.
no, those
They
aren't
are.
her funds. Her funds
She's
are
the
what's
voter
collected.
register. They're her funds.
Chapter 19 shouldn't even be in that account. That account should only have had county funds in it, to which they don't have that. They get their reports out of their system. Now, we can give access when we set up its own fund on the general ledger, and she can have access to see the ins and outs, just as y'all do with your departments. That's an easy fix once we get that set up, and that will show the expenditures and the reimbursements for it. But it really doesn't need its own bank account. She can't have signature authority over it to expend any county funds that go past, that aren't approved by me, you, and then dispersed by the county treasurer. Giving her access to funds, county funds, circumvents that entire process.
Chapter 19 is a weird deal.
Well, yeah,
It
but
is.
I'm still confused, and I think our attorney needs to give us some insight about the statute, because what I read, Cheryl, indicated to me that if the elected official chose not to, it mandates the treasurer to do that checking account. But if the elected official is of the mindset that they want to be in charge of that, for example, I'm gonna give you a prime example. The trust account in the district clerk's office, when Tommy sells a house on the courthouse steps for $5,000, that sells for $25,000. That $20,000, and that has occurred multiple times here, yet not one single time have we approved the disbursement of that $20,000 out of that trust account.
Right, so the trust accounts are a little bit different, as it's money that's owed to others, and there are specific provisions in the statutes for trust accounts to be maintained by those elected officials, because that's not technically county money of any kind.
But do you have control of that trust account right now?
I do, because the district clerk has opted to give us control over that.
She did, because she didn't understand them.
But
And
the
so
minor
she gave
trust-
it to her just because to take some weight
And
off
I am
her
under
plate.
the
That's it.
impression that
I
she
kept
has an
mine up.
option,
But
but if she
she-
didn't want to give that option, she
Right.
doesn't.
She doesn't have to.
She doesn't
correct.
have to, because the trust account is not county money, and yes, she could take it back at any time. She has chosen to authorize those payments directly, and we run the check for her, but she could choose to do that. The minor trust also does not fall under, because that's not county money. It is held in trust by those clerks, district and county clerk, each have their minor trust. We don't control those either.
And nobody's auditing them?
We do check them.
They
We
do
do
audit
have to
them.
audit them, yes.
The same way they could audit the Chapter 19 checkbook.
But
if I
those
had it.
are, and everything says paid to the county from the Secretary of State's website, paid to the county, not the county voter registrar, not the county clerk, the county.
But when I'm coming and paying $100 fine at.
Right, that's county funds, so,
No, it's also could be the largest part state funds.
yes, but that county, and then we are in control of dispersing that money to the state. It's not due to like a person that we are holding money in trust for. Or-
Where's the law say?
There is
So
no
the
law
repres-
that says she can have that access, that's that signature authority.
The representative I spoke to said that this is
Represented from where?
from the state.
Secretary of
With
State's
Chapter
office.
19, yes. She's the one that sent me the information, telling me hopefully it helps get this account going. She did say that this is not county funds, it is state funds.
Right, to
State
help
funds that, excuse me, can I
Defer the
finish?
cost.
Can I finish? And that so voter register can use, maintain, and take care of it. That's the person I spoke to.
So it sounds like maybe, Melvin, I know you've got nothing else going on. It sounds like we need to ask you to review this.
Clarify.
Clarify it. I also, as part of that, this is not going to be an issue specifically to the county clerk's office that much longer
No.
once an elections administrator is hired. That's gonna bring its own set of questions, because that's no longer an elected official.
Correct.
It's
And
appointed.
it's not even being that I want control, I just want to get taken care of once it is transit over and it's all ready for them to go. So it's not about control.
How much activity is there in that account, say, in a year? I mean,
We've never been able to track it, so I couldn't tell you,
are there
because they've
20
commingled
checks
it with the
written,
other
or
funds.
are there-
They
Lori
could have
used to
tracked
use
it.
county
It-
funds.
It was being deposited into the real property
Right.
account, which they had access to it.
So
So
Lori,
how can they not track it?
Well,
Right.
we could track
We-
it from the Secretary of
we
State's
could,
office.
right, so
I
what
can
Lori would
put
do is
reports
we
there.
would pay for it, and she would file for reimbursement and would stick it in that account, and it never got sent back to the county.
I have a question for Annette. You said you had a checkbook up until the point you took office?
I had it at the beginning of the year and then the trust
Did
account and the
you-
real property.
Did you run a balance sheet on it? Was it kept a balance sheet on it
For
monthly?
the chapter 19 funds, I didn't have any at that time because I didn't use it. There was a lot more going on than me having to use the chapter 19 funds. But I did, when I went to my first conference, I submitted reimbursement and it was being deposited, so I hope it was
So you never
deposited.
saw, like Jeff said, a
ledger.
reconciled ledger of that checkbook?
Well, yes.
Not
you-
after the fact. When
Not
I had it,
after.
we used to reconcile the checkbooks, send the
Monthly.
reports over.
Yeah, you'd have
Yes.
a monthly, you'd
Yes.
have a monthly
Yes.
ledger on there.
Before, when it was in my
But
hands, yes.
how do you close out, deposits, or how do you make sure that you reconcile to your deposits if you don't have access to that account?
I don't, I just send it over to the
Right, it is our
treasurer.
responsibility to reconcile
I-
the accounts,
So I just send reports, balance for the day, and it's out of my hands.
yes.
So all the time you've been in office, you've never kept a ledger
On
on
chapter
chapter
9,
19?
no, we never,
Even
we
though-
we never knew when they filed for
Did
reimbursement.
you never know it was required to keep it?
No, this came out of the research that I did, that we needed to have its own fund, so. And that will be rectified immediately, so. And that will bring transparency. This is essentially runs just like a state grant. We spend the money, it's reimbursed, and we need to track it.
I mean, I do have concerns about opening a checking account if it's not legal.
Mhm.
But I do have more concerns about having funds for an elected official that they don't have access to look at if they want to.
Right, which,
So
with
what's
setting
the
up the
difference
fund,
in-
we'll let them.
What's the difference between controlling the cash bond account, which was a lot more money in that account,
That one is allowed by statute.
that you want control of it, you want transparency, you want it to get kept up? What is the difference?
That's the
So,
legislature.
I think I'll come back then. Melvin, I'll ask you to figure out what this is.
We may need to look at outside counsel on this one.
Okay, all right. Well, and I think my bigger, because again, this is something that is, we're going to have a non-elected official in that position soon,
Right.
hopefully, assuming the Elections Commission does that, but, and that's gonna be a different thing too.
But this would be something that Allison Bass would be very familiar
So
with.
you've got them hired.
It seems like we could almost reach out to TAC
I
and
think
get
that's
outside.
what I,
We
that's
don't,
what
I don't know that we need
Again,
outside
how-
counsel.
How much money again is generally in this account?
It depends, every year, well, it's not, it's gonna start off with 500 just so we can start our conferences, and then I submit my.
The state
items
gives
to
you
the state, and then they
$500
deposit
straight
it.
up.
No,
They'll
she-
deposit it.
They want county funds to start this.
And that's the
I'll
problem.
put the money myself.
it's not, again, chapter 19 is a weird deal because
Formula is based on voters.
the formula is
It
based
is.
on voters, but
Yes,
it's
it
not.
changes every other year.
But they're not giving that money based on the formula. They're not depositing that amount of
No.
money into
No.
the account.
No.
It's just
It's
Have
sitting,
access
it's
to that.
sitting,
We have
it's
Right.
sitting on a ledger, and I can see what I've been using, how I've used it, how much I have left.
Right, and she
I
can see
it.
all that from the state side, yes.
So the $500 is just to open the
open it.
account.
Right, so we're gonna give county funds that are gonna be expended outside the control of the county auditor, the
Well, there
commissioner's
again,
court,
not
and the
necessarily. You
treasurer.
could put $500 in the account and never use it.
Mhm.
It could be set there just to
But
open the
she
account.
could, and then that's a violation of statutes.
And that might be interpretation, but that's why we have other people smarter than us to
All right,
help answer the
so
question.
I think for the purposes of this, this item on the agenda today, it sounds like we need to take no action while some outside council clarity is given.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have enough information.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Do we have any other comment on this item? Okay, then with no action taken, we will move on from item number 2. To item number 3, discuss, consider, and/or take action to authorize county judge to sign the interlocal cooperation agreement with Lubbock County for housing inmates. Who drew the short straw?
I guess I did. I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
All right, Chief.
I hate to follow that. So, some of the things that came out was, to find the comps per diem, comparable size to other counties' facilities. We reached out to several, Grayson, Greg, Kaufman, Potter, and Taylor responded back. Grayson charges $65 a day. Greg charges $56. Kaufman County charges $60. Potter County charges $50, and Taylor County charges $60. So,
There's nothing wrong with being the highest then.
no, it's not. And then I was asked to kind of look at the variable cost, food, extra utilities. That's kind of harder than just the food. We figured less than $6,000 a month in food, but also you got the
Per inmate?
for the whole inmates for all
Okay.
for all 40.
That's
If
fine.
we took
Just
40,
like
no,
I said.
if we took 40 inmates, it'd be about $6,000.
I mean, they're eating
That 40
good.
inmates is like 8.5% of our population. If we took 40, you gotta remember all these people are coming from Lubbock, so they're gonna be using that phone. And based on our monthly average, what we get from GTL on the commission, that we probably make another $1,500 to $1,800 a month back on the phone usage, because they're not gonna be driving to Lubbock to do visitation. So
y'all get a cut on the phone?
we get a cut on the phone. Well, the county does, we don't. It goes back to the general fund. So GTL roughly, it averages roughly 20,000 a month, give or take a little bit. I think last month was 18, but I think early in the year we saw some $28,000 monthly payments. So based on that, I think our $61 or $62 that we're asking for is probably fair market value. I don't have the exact number in front of me because I don't have the sheet. How much was it? Yeah, 62.57.
Well, that's 62.57. Why not round it to 63?
We could. I mean, we just went off the formula that the TDCJ had, or Judge Commission had.
Okay. So you are asking for the court to go forward on the cooperation agreement as it was originally?
Yes, sir.
At 62.
I have a question before we do that. What was y'all's, because I know there was some talking about money as what y'all were wanting to charge, raise the marshal's price up to?
Well, we have no control over what it goes to. We have to submit a new contract, and they look at everything as far as utilities and cost of the building.
And the reason I asked that, what are we charging now for you this month?
$56.
So whatever we set, it would be better to have the same number, so if another agency calls, we don't have to, I mean, we can be pretty exact and say, yeah, it's gonna run you $63 or $65, whatever it is. But if there is such a shortage, I don't know why we wouldn't go up a little bit. I agreed with Jeff when his thoughts were, maybe we should make it, $80 or whatever, a little bit more than what our costs are, we think our costs are, just because we're one of the few places that has the space. But just a thought. I'm not trying to rip people off, but I would like to have one price that.
Will, on the phone, we don't see that revenue. It's a general fund revenue.
It's general fund revenue. It goes back to the general fund.
So what is our outside revenue? For example, last year when we came in nip and tuck, but we didn't see what the influx of revenue was.
For GTL,
For anything,
Oh,
for payment of anybody that.
Well, we get money back from the state
State.
when we take inmates to prison. We get money reimbursements for that, depending on how many inmates we take at a time. We have those numbers. I have to get them for you. We track all that. Jill tracks all those numbers, and we get the reimbursement from GTO goes back to the general fund.
Yeah, I'd like to see what our reimbursement from GTL has been historically, because we were promised a lot.
I
Increase.
think last year, can you pull that up, or?
I can, but not right at the very moment.
Okay. I'm gonna guess last year it was in the neighborhood of 250 to 300,000, just from what I saw each month coming in.
Well, that's nice to know. I mean, it's nice to know as far as a budget. I mean, if you're, if we're going over on labor, but we have still money coming in over here, makes you feel a little bit better about
Yeah.
the jail budget
Yeah.
overall, so that's good.
And
I'm
I don't.
sure they offset.
They don't offset it, and the money coming back from the state isn't just a lot of money, but it's tens of, 10,000, 20,000, what we get reimbursed for taking the inmates back and forth to like Lindsay or to Gatesville. So there's a fee for that. And I don't know the numbers for last year. I'd have to go research that.
Yeah, that GTL number pre-LEC and post-LEC would be really interesting
I think it's probably more.
it should be, because
of the
we
tablet
did a lot
usage,
of
yeah.
things in order
Yeah, I'm
to,
pretty sure it's quite a bit more. But again,
well, I'd like to see if that's working.
Cash flow, Will's talking about 75 grand a month. From a cash flow perspective, I mean, it's money we don't get today. And so, as long as we can, maintain without eroding that severely, it's just.
because you still got the same electricity for the most part, because when the TV's on its own, the lights are on, they're all on. The plumbing might change a little bit depending on how many times he wants to shower. But for the most part, the utility's not gonna change any with 40 additional people.
On the deal, on the motion, do we have to have a dollar amount on there, or just
No, I
pass it
think
like
you
they
just to authorize me to sign it. It's
Now-
in there as it
Yeah.
is. Now, if you want to
Have-
change the money, we have to.
In our agreement, you have the superior right to,
Say no.
say no.
Refuse.
Yeah, refuse their
Okay.
inmates or send them back. If we
something
see an
happened,
influx of 50 inmates, we're gonna be sending some of theirs back.
Okay,
Or if we got a real problem inmate, we can say, come get him.
okay.
Usually they'll probably send us people who are sitting on parole warrants. They're sitting there 45 or 60 days before they either go back to prison or be released. Some that they don't have to come get on a regular basis from court is who they'll send us.
And I'd make a motion
Yeah, I'll second.
to authorize county judge to sign.
Are we talking enough, did we finalize a number? or
I think
do that?
so the motion right now is at 60-57. That's what it's
Why would we not wanna charge 60 to 65 with Grayson County charging 65?
Well, I agree with that.
Yeah,
I still agree
65.
with, then I'd make a motion to do it at 65.
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna change anything with y'all's.
No.
Yeah. And this is probably something we need to review annually, I would imagine, because it's gonna change. And to the sheriff's point about, being able to turn back a bad guy, you have one wrong guy in here, and he could cause you all kinds of problems. You get a couple of people hurt, and, it's,
We got plenty of Band-Aids for him.
yeah, I know, but we.
Are there any other
Much better
counties
one, At least the 65.
looking to come here?
We did reach out. I mean, I know Denton County at one time called you, but we haven't reached out to them. It was really reaching out to Lubbock County first, because they've called on several occasions.
So you think they're ready to go with some, okay, just curious. Okay.
And just because it sounds like it's the court's desire, we may ask from time to time on our Friday sessions just to make sure y'all are keeping an eye on if it's putting us over a threshold where we're having to bring in more people or anything. So I know y'all will be watching that anyway, but that's something we'll probably be asking about. Okay, so we've got a motion from Commissioner Cannon, seconded by Commissioner Beecham, to authorize the county judge to sign an interlocal cooperation agreement with Lubbock County for housing inmates at the $65 per diem level. we have any other public comment or
Well,
questions?
and that is something, Mel, you reviewed that agreement and there's,
Well, the interlocal agreement?
Yes.
Yeah, it looked fine to me, aside from whatever monetary amounts you guys wanna pick. I mean, right now it does say the 62 or whatever it says, so if you're gonna need to definitely
Yeah.
remember to correct out, but it's fine
Change it and
otherwise.
send it back, because they'll need to.
and the
Yeah.
term of that agreement, Will,
I believe they're a year-long
I think they're
contract.
year-long.
Most of the out-of-county contracts are a year, and then with an auto renewal.
Yep, it is 1 year and an auto renewal of 1 year with 60 days notice to terminate.
Yeah.
Okay, so the motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Make a note to myself. All right, discuss and take action on premium pay funding for jailers currently being paid for by state and local fiscal recovery funds. Cheryl, nothing happened over the weekend that changed since
No.
the conversation?
No,
Okay.
nothing else has changed.
Okay. I think from our conversation on Friday, it sounds like the best way forward for the rest of 2023 is to pay for this lost revenue.
Yes.
so moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Watts, seconded by Commissioner Buchanan, to pay for jailer premium pay for the rest of 2023 out of lost revenue. Does that give you what you need, Cheryl? to
Yes.
move forward on that? Okay. All right. Do we have any other comment, questions on this item? All right. Motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 5, discuss, consider, and/or take action to authorize county judge to sign an interlocal agreement for the improvement of Decker Road in Archer County, Texas. Commissioner Watts, I think you were working on this.
Yes, and the, I had, flipped the latest agreement. I wanted Mel to look at that wording, but they have agreed to, do a flat rate of $30 an employee, which simplifies, we're not gonna ever be over there for any length of time. Be simple, improvements like this one. They're gonna be a day or 2 days of job where we will have others, and it will be so less complicated if we can have a flat rate straight across the board, and they have agreed to do that for us so that we can bill one number times the number of hands. So that would be, that they are having a very difficult time with the road right now, and it's still debatable whether they'll even make it. They're trying hard.
So, and a couple of things to think about, what this is really about is to try to help them get up to speed and figure their program out. And the good thing to me is this is not but several hundred yards from the Wichita County line. That makes it, we're not going to those out of Garfield to go do something. That makes a difference also. And this is not, we're not really entering into an agreement that's gonna get operated, 200 days out of the year or anything. So,
Sure.
It's a kind of courtesy deal more than anything, and we are being made whole, and that was one of our first questions. We've gotta be made whole because we're using assets.
That's right, Commissioner.
Taxpayers in Wichita County.
And Mark always has some form of a game plan when he gets over on the far east side, and Mick, you may have taken some of that now, but there are some interchanging roads out there that have a Clay County twist to them or something that it always is good to have these in place, and that way we can bill when we need to and not have to
Way to have a good relationship with your neighbors.
Yeah.
We're not trying to go into business, I think is the point. We're just trying to help them out on this deal, and I think it'll be beneficial for everybody.
Well,
Motion to approve.
I don't want to become a contractor.
No, we're
No,
not.
I really,
We don't have to be.
I have some heartburn of it's not continuous to our roads. So, Not that I don't want to help Archer County, because I've always been there to help either of my, either the three of my connecting counties, but
And Melvin, you reviewed this agreement and,
The one that I have is the one that just contains the regular hourly rate
yes,
language.
that's the only one I have, we're gonna need to.
Okay, so
change
we're
that.
changing that part is the part that will be changed, section 3B. If
Is
you
that
can
right?
show me
Yes.
that language that you want in there, yeah, we can put that in. I've reviewed it otherwise. I
Right.
didn't see anything else wrong with it at all. I mean, it's, you know, if you guys
And
wanna do it.
Commissioner Watts, you're saying that 3B, Archer County agrees to reimburse Wichita County, you want it to say for the flat rate of $30 an hour per employee who works
Yes,
on
for,
projects?
for this term of agreement. I don't want it to read that way 5 years from now, but yes. When that agreement, the term of that agreement,
It's 1 year, so.
and so that we need to stay abreast of those so that we can stay in tune with the market. And FEMA rates change and all those.
And as long as we're not taking all supervisors, that will cover all of the costs, as far as the little bit that we looked at, yes. If we take all supervisors, then no, we're not gonna get that cost, so.
Okay. Well, we have a motion by Commissioner Fincannon. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
All right. Commissioner Fincannon moves to authorize the county judge to sign the interlocal agreement for the improvement of Decker Road in Archer County, Texas, with the one amendment to it. The labor will be $30 an hour. Okay. All right, do we have any other comment on this item or questions? Okay, the motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. All right, since it involves a discussion and potential motion, this time we'll bring back up consent agenda item number 3. Motion to approve payroll filing penalties up to $50,000 for late filing of payroll taxes in the first and second quarters of 2023 due to change within personnel submitting reports. Corey,
Good
please,
morning.
speaking of short straws, would you mind filling us in on what this is about?
All right, so back towards the end of April, we got an invoice from the IRS saying that we had a late penalty for the last pay period of 22, which would have been the one that ended the last week of December, and the pay date was on the 30th. So that one was not done before the changeover in the administration and everything. So when we got, or when Steven stepped in, obviously he didn't have any clue what was going on, and that one did get filed like on a Wednesday, which per the publication 15, if your payroll date is on a Friday, the payments are due on Wednesday. So we thought we were in compliance at that point in time. We thought we were fine, and we continued to file on Wednesdays throughout that time. Well, when we got this invoice, I called the IRS to figure out what was going on, and so there's another section of publication 15 that says if you incur over $100,000 in taxes, then you're a next day filer. So basically, since our payday is Friday, we are due to pay by Monday. So technically, that's when we found out that when we were filing on Wednesday for the first 5 months of the year, we were filing late every pay period. And once we got that confirmation, I talked to Steven, and we've got everything straightened out so that we're in compliance now. And so we will have a couple more coming due in the next quarter, because we didn't find out till the second quarter. But we did try to file for
Abatement.
an abatement on this, but apparently when we found out about the one in 22 or in December, we found out that we had one in March of 22 as well. So that kept us from getting the abatement for the one in December, because we already had a penalty in the first quarter of 22, and you have to go a full year without any penalties, so we weren't able to file for any kind of abatements on any of this, since we previously had one in March of '22. I went with the total of 50,000 just because I don't know an exact amount. I know that the one for the first quarter of '23 is 29,000, and I know that there's at least 3 more pay periods coming. So I'm assuming it's gonna be in the low 40s, but I went with the 50 just to be on the safe side because I don't really know. And we need to get the 29 paid already, and this will cover us for the next quarter that we're gonna have a few late penalties.
But the 22, Corey, what's the cost of the 22, the March and the December?
The March one was already taken care of March of '22 had already been taken care of. The one in December was, I believe it was in the $5,000 range, because most of them are in the $5,000 range based on our,
Every time you add a
our
penalty,
bi-weekly
it
payroll.
compounds.
So how'd the one in March get paid for?
Y'all already approved that one
That was-
earlier,
yeah, that
court
was-
agenda.
A year ago, so.
Yeah.
And it came through like on a consent agenda? or
No,
something?
it was listed on the bills, Cheryl, and no one was
I'm
notified.
Pretty
And
sure
I
it's on
take
the
real
agenda.
exception to that.
No,
No,
I
we've
never
not heard a
remember
single
hearing-
word, we didn't even hear a single word about this, so I just wanna make myself, loud and clear. I would appreciate some heads up before we get the whole county calling us and saying, what are you paying penalties for not paying your payroll?
Yeah.
Well,
I
that's
mean-
on me for not giving you the heads up. I found out about it, and I just got the invoice in at the end of June, early July, so I'm trying to hurry up and get everything accomplished and get it on the schedule. And
so this is a
Talk to our
reoccurring
residents.
problem. Tell me again what we're doing to solve this. We're
We-
not having this happen again?
we've already set in plan that we're gonna do our tax filings every Friday, or every other Friday with our payroll, so we're not gonna be.
But nothing changed. From January of '22, you were supposed to pay your taxes on Monday. If your payday was on Friday, you're supposed to pay them on Monday.
Uh-huh.
So evidently, part of '22, you were paying them on Monday.
That is not
No,
an
only-
initiated.
We're not
Yes.
talking about
See,
2022. The only thing that we're talking about in '22 is there was one at
In March.
the end of February of '22, which was the first one in March of '22.
But that's what I'm
So-
getting at.
That was a totally different
If it was always
administration,
due
though.
on Monday, and you had been paying it on Monday all the time, so one in March didn't get paid on time.
But we-
For February,
By the treasurer's
The
office.
treasurer's office.
by the treasurer.
By the
Not-
treasurer's
not our
office pays those,
doesn't-
we don't pay
Doesn't
those.
file, we file the 941s quarterly, but we don't make the tax payments.
The treasurer's
That's
office
bi-weekly.
makes
The
those.
treasurer's office did
Rule
that.
applies if you go to a certain level.
Right.
The rules change,
Yes.
But I mean,
So-
most all businesses pay monthly.
but are they?
We pay
No.
bi-weekly.
We pay every week by payroll.
We pay
Right,
bi-weekly.
because right,
Did
we're
that
not on the
one in
monthly
March
schedule.
exceed that limit when we hardly ever do? I mean, what made it, why?
They just filed it late, just plain and simple, it got filed late.
So let me see if I can,
So when we do payroll, we issue the checks to be paid on that Friday because Friday is the payroll date. We send the checks and all the tax information to the treasurer's office with the stuff. And then the treasurer's office logs into the IRS and they make the tax deposits because that's their
So
portion of
Those
it.
amounts are variable because of, I guess, well, you might have holiday pay, you might have overtime, but are we close to that limit?
Yes, but no, we're not close to the next day limit.
so, let me see if I understand. 2022, a different treasurer at the time. We were still above the 100,000 limit.
Right.
We were still next day filers.
Right.
We were paying next day except for the exception of
Of
that
one
one
time.
in February.
Yes,
Then we get to the end of December 2022.
yes.
We've got another one that wasn't paid next day under previous treasurer.
Yes
They
and
just
no.
didn't pay it at all.
Yes and no. Normally, they would file it on the Friday, and the Friday of the December 30th was December 30th, so normally they would go ahead and file it that day because that's the deadline.
How did
They
it-
had till Monday, well, technically Tuesday because of the holiday to file it, but they didn't come back on Tuesday.
How
So
did
it's
it
kinda
not
like a
get paid
split.
at all?
Do what?
How did it not get paid at all?
It did get, whenever we figured out that it didn't get paid, we got it paid on Wednesday. But of course, you know, it's publication 12, if you read publication 12, it says we're due on Wednesday. But if you keep reading down publication 12, once you cross $100,000 threshold, you're due next day. So that was the part that got skipped over during the transition.
And the outgoing treasurer left 0 notes, logins, requirements, nothing for his incoming.
And as soon as Corey, the auditor's office, received the IRS invoice, heck, if that thing hadn't come in,
We would still be drawing penalties right now,
Yeah.
So that didn't come until April.
the end of April,
because
yes.
the
At
IRS
first.
probably checks
Yeah,
things.
yeah, we
forward.
filed, it came in the end of April, and we filed an abatement, and we had 3 weeks to review and everything, and they got back to us and told us that we fell under that's when we found out that we fell under the $100,000 rule, and that we were next day.
So we received any penalties since April?
We will, we just haven't, because.
So
the
the
court just
liability
ended in
here
June.
is
We'll
greater
file-
than 50?
Do what?
The liability here is greater than 50
No, it's not
potentially?
greater than 50, not.
But we don't know.
We don't know the exact, well, I know that it's 29,000 right now, and I know that we're gonna have, I would assume, about another 14 to 15,000 on top of that. Assuming that we.
Based on.
But we've
get this
also
done
had
and get it paid out
historical,
And don't continue accruing additional penalties for not paying.
we've had historical penalties. This is not just 50,000 we're talking about over time. This has happened
Historical
before.
over, I mean, considering last year, yes, probably. It would be really, yeah, it would be really close, considering, or if we factor in 22 as well.
Well, again, I'll go back to restate my question earlier. What's our plan moving forward that we don't do this again?
I have procedures. I get the numbers from Corey in the auditor's office, and it's set to pay immediately as soon as I get the numbers, so we're not late anymore. It was in my notes to put the settlement date on the Wednesday, and normally I would input that into the computer Thursday before, so it wasn't even like we were filing. It wasn't like I was even putting in the computer late. It was that we had the wrong settlement date in there, so the check wouldn't come out until then.
I think what you're asking is, with elected officials in any of our positions, we have rotation.
Yeah,
What's to keep this from happening again in
yeah.
the changeover again? Or?
And what's the oversight?
Yeah.
What are we gonna do as a county to ensure that everyone's doing what they're supposed to be? You
Yeah,
may be sick and out, your whole
Right,
office may
yeah,
be
we've
out.
got,
Where's the mechanism that somebody is triggered to say, hey, we're late on this penalty, we're late on this payment,
mhm.
we're late on filing?
Yeah,
Or
I think
we're
working
running
more
out of
between our
time.
2 offices and more than one person knowing what's going on.
Oh, that's the key,
Is
because
a big deal.
if it's down to one person, we're gonna end up repeating
Absolutely.
this again.
I've also got some notes written down too.
Well, I'm not faulting, and I'm just, we
Mhm.
need more of a backup
Absolutely.
than your office of 2 people. We've seen it empty before, where
Mhm.
there's nobody. If that happens, who's gonna take the ball and run with it?
That's something we could probably implement on our payroll side. We used to have that function when we had payroll in our office, or I guess we still do have payroll in our office, but when Karen was out
Right.
with her illness in the treasurer's office, she was the only one that knew how to do it. We had it for a period of time until she got healthy again, and then it transitioned back over to the treasurer's office, but we can,
But the
Surely, but
statutory
the
duties are
function-
still disbursement of funds belongs to the treasurer's office,
Sure.
not the auditor's office.
we-
But is
No, I
there
think we all
any, is
get
there any
that.
mechanism in place that notifies you and the auditor's office, hey, that payment wasn't
Or-
made today, so we need to make it?
Or commissioner's
I mean-
court that, hey, yeah, we're due a payment, we haven't paid it, or,
Do I send you the confirmations after I make them?
I
thought
don't
did, 'cause
normally get the confirmations after the fact, but we could make it to where it's part of the.
I save them in the share folder though, but I'll make sure I start sending them over to you
We
guys
would-
so you can see that they're there.
I
You
think
approve
somebody in
payroll
commissioner's
every-
court
you
needs to
approve
have some
payroll every
oversight,
other
that
Monday
we know
within
that,
the
that the
court.
payment's gone out, and
Sure.
we get the notification that it's been received.
Sure, I'm
We
happy
add
to
That way
send
we
the
have another
confirmation to you guys
layer.
too if you want.
Huh?
He's
We
gonna
add
say
to the
something.
language of one.
Yeah.
We're already approving payroll every other Monday. We added to the language of one about verification of tax payments.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
No,
that's
I agree.
Something.
That way you see it, somebody's to confirm that it's been done.
Yeah, I think the key there is just making sure that it doesn't become perfunctory.
Correct.
I am,
We can work on some language for that.
Yeah,
we need to change our motion that we make on paying the bills to add that? We talked
That's
about
what he's
that.
talking
Yeah.
about.
That's what we're
Yeah,
talking
that's what we're
about.
talking about. So yes, we can work on some
Yeah.
language for that and,
We talk about dispersing payroll, we could add,
That needs to be attached to the agenda.
and the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
That-
it's just
that-
gonna
that
need
we
a
see
little
the
bit of-
attachment, yeah.
sure.
Yeah, sure, not just the tax, but also the
We can add it
benefits and all that
to,
stuff.
Or it could be brought in that Monday.
well, if he's got it on the, no, cause we're gonna pay it
Why don't
on
we-
Friday.
Why don't we
Let's work on some
do a
language for that.
separate agenda item on the next week's that pulls this in and
That's
makes that
fine,
happen,
and just,
rather than
I-
trying to,
Yeah, let's just give this some time to figure out the right language for that and the attachment.
yeah, because
Cause I don't know if we can make it in the packet, the confirm, cause he's gonna pay it after she does the packet, so.
but
Let's work
we've
on
done
that.
handouts before
Sure.
where the packet's already gone out, but we have
Okay.
additional, I
But
do
it'd be
that
nice
with
to have it part
construction
of the
sometimes. Yeah.
packet that's on the website for transparency purposes, but yes, we can.
I mean, going through payroll on a Friday and then approving it on a Monday, and there's not time probably to get that information into our packet, so
Right.
there's not, because our posting's already well past. But we can't continue like
Correct.
we have been. We need some oversight. Somebody has to have oversight beyond the treasurer's office to make sure that in case he's out, in case we get a new treasurer someday or whatever, we need to have a plan in place to move forward.
yeah, we've got checks and balances scattered all
Everywhere.
over everywhere.
This is one that, this was a costly one.
This is a big one, you know.
No, this is a very costly mistake.
And they don't give much leeway.
They do
No.
not.
The IRS,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty bad when, or a taxing agency doesn't pay their taxes.
Hmm.
And they were just paid 2 days after
Yeah.
because of two different deadlines. So it wasn't,
Yeah, their deadlines were.
So they were
clear.
always paid. They
Oh,
were
yeah.
paid 2
Paid
days
late.
Right.
yeah.
Right, they were just paid late. They were paid
They were
off of one
scheduled-
rule and we
That's a
fell
lot of penalty
under.
for 2
Yeah.
days late.
Right,
Right.
and they were scheduled on Friday to pay.
Hard
So
That's-
law,
Yeah, it does.
It was paid under the general rule instead of the little tiny rule that follows way in.
Yeah, that's IRS.
you know, check the
Idiots
footnotes.
are us.
Okay. Thank you, Corey.
Well, I
Be
had,
the
I
brave
had,
soul who makes that
I
motion.
hate to say it, but we have to pay our bills. So
We do,
make-
especially the IRS.
Yeah, because otherwise it'll just keep going up.
It's not really by choice, it's to stop the bleeding, but I'll make the motion.
I'll second it. As long as we have another agenda item next
Yes,
week to
so,
cover the plan.
Nancy, I think you've probably already written that down, but yeah. Agenda item to add the payment of payroll taxes on our Monday, language that we have.
Verification.
Yeah. All
I do
right.
have one quick question.
Yes, sir.
Corey, has there been any kind of penalty since us delaying from April, when you got the notification, to today to get it approved? Has that cost us anything?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
We don't have the notice.
We don't have that. We file the 941 quarterly, and so we would be filing for the end of June, the second quarter, this coming week. And so when we get that filed, we'll probably, I'd say, we wouldn't know for sure till probably close to September.
Okay.
I'm betting on at least 2 more payrolls.
I
but
would
it just kinda
think
depends.
that the auditor's office or the treasurer's office should have probably, this is just me, if you found out in April, probably should have maybe got to the court a little faster than now.
We were
found
trying to
out-
abate it.
Yeah, we were trying to get everything abated. We didn't get till we got the actual
That's a-
invoice.
And the reason I say that, when it came out on the agenda, I think all of us got calls about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was my fault because
And we were
I got the
blindsided.
invoice at the last minute and it's due already to avoid incurring additional penalties on top of that, so I was trying to get it on there as fast as I could.
Okay, that was my.
And I understand, yes, it was, I should have probably let y'all know ahead of time as soon as I got it, but like I said, I was trying to get everything organized and get it straightened up. And like I said, I know there will be, I don't know, I'm pretty sure there will be at least two more penalties on the next quarter.
All right, thank you.
And that'll fall underneath what the 50 that he's already taught. Right.
Say that again?
That'll fall under the 50,000 total that he is on this item.
Right. Okay, all right. Do we have any other questions or comments on this item? All right, Commissioner Fincannon made the motion, it was seconded by Commissioner Beecham to approve payroll filing penalties up to $50,000 for late filing payroll taxes in the first and second quarters of 2023. All right, the motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Item number 6, receive June Treasury Report from Stephen Jones, Treasurer.
Yes, sir. So, I had a PowerPoint that I forgot to get it set up, so that was just to make it more exciting. Plus, it's fun to play with PowerPoint. So, basically, not a whole lot has changed since last time. Our overall balances went down some because we paid some bills. So our interest this time, this past month, we brought in $272,000 on tax pool. About $26,000 on A and B. Really didn't have a whole lot to note in there. We brought in the money from tax pool to pay, start paying our ARPA stuff, which was on the agenda a week or two ago. We got that going, so not a whole lot else. Like I said, there's not a whole, it was basically a boring month for us, so unless you guys have any questions on stuff we can go over.
Do you have a report for us?
Oh. I don't have another copy of it. I sent.
It's in your packet, Mark.
It's in-
No,
Yeah.
I'm not finding it in the packet. Maybe I'm just not looking in the right place.
It's bookmarked under Judy's.
There it is, it's above that.
Oh, okay. I just didn't look far enough up. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Didn't scroll far enough up.
I do have the invoice printed out, so if y'all want to you guys are.
Okay.
Is that the investment report?
Yeah.
You guys are stage right or left. You were noticing that. And I will say, Corey took the bullet on that one, but it's as much my fault because I didn't know what I was doing. And that's on me, so.
You were on the prior agenda item?
Yeah, that's as much my fault as anybody else's, so. Corey took the heat, but it's my fault too, so.
Well, I just like the bleeding stop as
Oh,
quick
yeah.
as possible.
Yeah, no, it's
I mean,
like
it's bad
that.
enough
Like I said,
now.
we've already got it stopped. We just, like I said, we'll put in some fail safes to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Correct.
You should have probably been the one to present that to us.
Of that taxable withdrawal of nearly 10 million, I see 5.5 of it is specifically for ARPA.
Yeah.
Is that the whole of the ARPA transfer, or is some of the 3.1 in general operating covering that as well? Or is that just the movement out to cover normal bills?
That's just for normal bills.
Okay.
And I had a breakdown, I forget where I put that, I was working on it last night in my office.
But I show, Stephen, the permanent improvement fund is still bankrupt, or it is practically nil. But we have moved a significant amount of money there, but we apparently spent it all out of there.
No, what happened was, the date of 6:30 was the cutoff. We had pulled the money down from text pull to move it, but we hadn't done that yet because it hadn't hit the agenda item to move it yet. So it was.
Across months.
Yeah, it crossed months. Like the next Monday, we approved it and it got sent over.
So the July report, when you make it, is gonna have a substantial deposit in the permanent improvement.
Yeah, it'll look a lot different than that.
A deposit of probably $5.566 million.
It would be the 5, and then the other that came down for just regular ARPA bills.
Yeah, because some we pay directly out of the ARPA account because they're not permanent improvements.
There was one that was the 400 and something thousand for water or something.
Oh, yeah, anything we're paying directly to a water entity, or we just pay that out of the ARPA account directly.
Yeah, what did John work on, precinct 5?
We are.
Barry would have to look.
I
I
see
may
mine.
have it.
I see mine, yours. I just didn't think
Are we on the treasurer's report stuff?
The estimator, I know, but
That's true. Forgot about that.
Which one are you looking
see
at?
if I can find that quick.
Yeah, real close there.
Curious, I saw it.
Oh, because it moved stuff.
Yeah, I started making a T-chart flow to show all the moves from text pull to A and B to other things to how it reflected on the bills, and it just got more complicated than
Oh, it's very
would have been
complicated.
worth putting in front of you guys, because it's not that it's complicated, it just looks that way. Just how money moves from one to the other in and out.
I can't speak for everybody. I do think it would be nice to see that, and then can call you and ask questions.
Okay.
Just to get a feel for, when we're talking about the amounts of money involved in
Yeah.
that, it would be nice.
And that was one other thing I had as far as the balances. Our overall cash balances have gone down about 8 million for this past month. Each month before that, it went up quite a bit. Just because of when money comes in and when money goes out.
Right, so we're
We're
at
front loaded.
a
Yeah.
point where we're not receiving tax
Right.
money anymore.
Right. In May, we increased those balances by 6,000. In April, it increased by 14 million. In March, it increased by almost 18 million. February, it increased almost 11 million. So it's been going up, and then now it's starting to go back down.
Stephen, I don't want to create extra work for you, but how hard would it be to go back and point in time, do the same thing retroactively in 2022, so that we have a feel on a basic calendar year, because we can compare it
Gotcha.
to-
Yeah, I can
You
do
want to
that.
see the cycles.
Yeah, I can do
Yeah.
that. That wouldn't take me that long.
And again, all of these guys have been through multiples, but
Mhm.
I think that would, to one of Commissioner Watt's questions, I think on Friday, I think that would be helpful
Sure.
to see.
And I'm interested in that too.
I
That's
love
why.
that year to year.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
lay up side by side, and you get a good feel for, is there anything?
Should be able to put on a nice line graph.
Well,
where you
so
can
that
see
I
it.
don't,
Well,
so
we'll
that I don't
see
freak out at
inflation
losing
and
a net reduction of 10 million in 1 month.
Yeah.
It's big, but if that's compared to last year where it's,
But
Right.
remember, we have over
But
5
it's
of it's
more.
ARPA. We have a lot of ARPA spending.
And a lot of it was, a lot of that 8 million was actually LPPF too.
Yes,
that's
and
not
we
our
have
money.
LPPF, and we have no,
Mhm.
there's no pattern to when they choose to withdraw.
Yeah.
So that.
well, and that's part of why that's part of why having you do this monthly is good, because we can see it. If something looks weird, we can ask questions. And
Yeah, and no, I had meant to ask for, to do the PowerPoint so I could show you what I did. But that's why I looked up the last several months' the difference, how much the money's gone up and down, because when I saw the 9 million, 8.5 million, whatever it was sticker shock on me too. Oh wow, we went down, how come we went down? So I did some digging in to find out why. And the biggest chunk of it was the LPPF money, because the ARPA one looks like a big number, but it didn't go away, it went from one account to another. So we didn't decrease 5 million in our balance because of that yet.
And when does that interest rate change for us, July 1?
For our bank accounts, August 1st is when the new contract's supposed to take over.
And we'll have, Roy's asked for a meeting.
Yes, I know. We gotta do it before Wednesday this week, or starting Wednesday of next week.
I know.
Okay. Do you have any other?
I really like your idea, what he just asked you, I really like. And I'm probably gonna come visit with you because
Okay.
I think it should be, I personally think your treasury report should be somewhat simplistic at the bottom. And I have a thought of how I would like to ask you to set that up.
Sure.
So I'll come talk to you.
Sure, I'm happy to add in or change anything you want.
All right, do we have any other questions on this? You'll still want more time to look at it?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right, any public comment on item number 6? Yes, ma'am.
I was going to ask, and I'll change this when Stephen puts it on the agenda. Can we just add to authorize Commissioner Ford to sign the treasurer's report?
Yeah, I don't think we can, we'll have to do that.
Oh, you can add it.
You could add it
I
in the
just-
motion.
You can add the language, yeah.
Okay.
Technically, this is supposed to be filed with the county clerk's office. All fee office reports, including the treasurer's office, supposed to be filed with the county clerk's office. Just as all of those fee offices are technically supposed to give a monthly report on the fees that they collect.
All right, then I guess I will entertain a motion to certify and approve the treasurer's report.
So moved. Second.
All right, motion by Commissioner Fincannon, seconded by Commissioner Muller to receive and approve the June
That's all.
treasury report from Stephen Jones, treasurer. Any questions or comments on that motion? All right, motion before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. General business item number 7, receive second quarter investment report from Stephen
I
Jones,
didn't prepare the
treasurer.
report.
You asked for it. You
Yes,
put it on
it's,
the agenda.
that's required in the investment policy.
You're the one who
Be
signed
third
it.
minute,
No, I didn't.
pass the plate.
Give me one.
It's already been 2 minutes.
Oh.
It is required to be on this agenda item.
All right, so yeah,
Investments, we've got money invested.
if you'd like to delay the report,
No, it's fine. I spent more time working on the other ones though. But basically, the biggest change that we had was, that's on this report, was one that we all talked about before, where we had those 3 CDs at First National that we basically traded in for ones that have good interest rates. And that's, did you guys get this? It should be in your packet too,
no,
shouldn't it?
we don't
No.
have anything on this one.
Okay. I didn't make copies, but.
Do I need to go make copies?
Now, Stephen, you do have the text pool activity. On your other report, you showed us the general daily and the prime
Right.
Yes,
daily.
yeah, and I think I put previous months on there too, so it's.
Yes.
It's gone up a little bit again still, and we're hoping it'll go up a little bit more, but as far as rates for CDs and stuff, probably not, because the Fed's gonna go up probably one more time, maybe 2, but then they're gonna start going back down, so I don't expect CD rates to get any better than they are right now.
Yeah,
So-
we're hitting our peak now is when we need to try to take advantage, and now that we've got the approval to get the signers changed with Cetera, which is our American National Bank investments, we can get into that account and look at what can and
Mhm.
cannot be gotten rid of. Some things we can't get rid of, we have to hold to maturity, just the language of that investment. Some of it we'll take a penalty on, but as we're already in the loss category, it would be better to go ahead and take the penalty and buy something at a peak rate and to take advantage of the highest interest rates that we're
Were we
gonna see.
able to sell that one instrument at a discount? And
We don't know yet.
we don't know yet.
It doesn't
Eric
look
was
good on
out
that.
when we got that all signed, so.
We're hoping to move that stuff to a better rate, like with those First National Bank ones that we did. And you'll see when you get the copy of it. It went from about I think one of them was 1.5%, and then they are now in the high fours. One of them's right at 5%, and we've already made a lot more headway because of that. So we'd like to do that with more of our ones that are currently in our.
The investment committee met on
Yes.
that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
What was y'all's time frame for how quickly it would pay for itself, making the penalty?
We didn't have that, you know, we didn't know for sure until
Yeah.
we get the information back.
But
Oh, okay.
it's not as much paying it back with that investment. It's freeing up our WAM, so we can use that free space in our WAM to invest in other investments to make up. It should make up the majority of the discounted cost, but
I think
right now we have no ability to invest otherwise.
Yeah, because luckily we are under our weighted average maturity per the policy, but we're unable to really take advantage of the
The better
of the
interest
better
rate.
rates because we're right at that cusp and we need to try to get rid of some of this.
Yeah, we
So
need to
those
figure out a good way
decisions
to do it.
were
No,
whole picture ones?
yes, rather than
Right.
macro.
Than any micro, yeah.
I'll make sure I print enough for the class next time. Yeah, a couple of, the biggest one that's hurting us is that one that's a $4 million one
Mhm.
at 1.25%, which is just,
For 5 years.
yeah, it didn't roll off until 27.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
holding up funds.
Yeah, and for really, when we get payoff for it, it's not much.
Yeah.
So if we can, if there's not a penalty on top of the really,
Yeah, as long as we can get rid of it, but we don't.
if we can, then we want to.
The bank wouldn't give us any specifics yet because none of us were on the account.
And we're working on that. It doesn't, to my eyes, it doesn't look good, but
So
Yeah,
as far as us being able to do it, but
we reached out to Murphy Davis Jr.
so
and
to kind of answer your question, it looks like, we did rough math in the committee, that it looks like it'll pay, if we reinvest it at the current rates, it'll pay for itself, sold at the discount that we looked at the time.
yeah, it was
But-
almost a break even.
Yeah, but it does free up the cap space in our WAM that we
Right.
can make
Mhm.
other investments to
correct.
not only make up for it, but also to gain more funds. Because the other option that we discussed was to temporarily raise our WAM so we can
Yeah,
make some short-term investments.
Or even
Right.
to exclude that one from the
Right.
calculation,
Yeah,
correct.
which would be a committee and a policy.
Well, it's one that we'll bring back to the court after we have more information from Cetera on what we can and can't do if we're stuck with it, or it's not advantageous to sell it and we can make our money back, then we'll bring it back to the court for possible
So,
temporary,
to move that particular investment outside the weighted average maturity.
right, so that we can take some of the money sitting in savings and capitalize on that.
Yeah,
That's something we'll bring back to the court
Yes.
once we have more information.
and we're hoping to do that fairly soon. So before
Well, yeah,
it's set
Eric
to
should be
go.
back now from vacation, so.
Mhm.
But there is a risk in doing that. That's why we have the policy barriers set so tight, so we minimize risk.
Yeah, and really like I said the other day, I think the WAM, even at what we have it set at, is a little high.
Correct, yeah, I mean,
And we did that because we were so high, is my understanding.
it is, it's at the rate it is now as a way to try to get us within something reasonable from where we were historically, but no one is suggesting you go out more than 2 years.
Mhm.
Everybody is doing their laddering at really 1 year to 18 months. 2 years is pushing it.
Mhm.
Anything on a 5 year is kind of ridiculous unless you're being able to capture these high interest rates. And even then, you take that risk that it's gonna be callable once the rates start going down.
Mhm.
Well, we're still in an inverted curve, so it makes no
We
sense
are.
whatsoever to be out 5.
Yeah,
Correct.
None.
even for economics, it makes no sense.
No, there's no reason whatsoever to be beyond 2.
The logic there is, we
Yeah,
have no idea what the logic was. That was all purchased prior to the investment committee. That's part of the reason there is an investment committee.
It's like a saloon with battling doors. The main thing for me on this, I think that the committee's doing a great job as far as everybody's in the same mindset of wanting to move us in the right direction. I think that's the main move that we're trying to do.
You don't need monthly or quarterly.
Quarterly.
Where is the INS fund setting that? What kind of account is that?
It's setting in,
Those are,
well, some of it is in a CD, isn't it? And then some of
Yeah.
it is in text pool. Because it's not
Because
really
we
anything
kind
we.
of know when those are scheduled to be and when you'd have to
Yeah.
have the.
Yeah, Bob bought a CD out of some of it, and the rest of it we've been maxing out at text pool rates, which are higher.
There's, yeah, we had two, one investment, one treasurer's.
I already have the treasure one. I think you guys each got a copy of the. You don't have to keep signing.
So similarly to the previous item, we will need to approve the investment report.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Buchanan, to receive and approve the second quarter investment report from Steve Jones, Treasurer. Do we have any other questions or comments on this item? All right, motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. That brings us to item number 8, which is receive update on courthouse renovation, elevator projects, and county courthouse annex.
Well, Monday mornings are always fun. This was no exception. So, walked in this morning to another water issue. Yeah, it's not as bad. We have the fourth floor air handlers, the condensation drain plugged over the weekend, which leaked at least 100 gallons of water down onto the third floor, destroying a brand new wall. And it was a soundproof wall, so it's double sheetrock, double insulated, and it's all gonna have to be tore out and rebuilt. But that's part of having 60-year-old air handlers in the building with absolutely no catch basin. What's up there is long since rusted out, and it's gonna have to be addressed at some point when those come on the schedule to be replaced. So,
It's probably a really, really dumb question, but this happened at my, and I know that this is a completely different thing from residential. And this happened at my house. They came in and fixed it, but then said that there are sensors that you can put on.
there are, if you have a pan basin to catch it in, that's the problem. You can put a sensor in the middle of the floor and there's no guarantee your water's gonna find that sensor. So, with discussion with Rick this morning, as we're replacing the air handler units, we're going to do things to mitigate that in the future. There are several things. I do not know. I haven't been up there to look. But no, it's not gonna raise to that amount. It's just a setback, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back.
I think you're going the wrong way.
In that particular case, we are. Yeah, it's gonna cause some problems, just a delay, but they should be up there right now tearing it out. I sent you over an email just a little bit ago,
Mm-hmm.
the quote from, I don't remember,
Yeah.
some testing agency.
It looks like they are not set up as a vendor, so we're
Yeah,
gonna need
well,
a W
we
nine
need
before we
to-
can actually.
We need to
issue that PO.
expedite that. So what we're gonna have to do with the technology coming into the different courtrooms, CCL2 is scheduled to get its technology package next week or the week following. Because it's on the post-tension slab, there's some difficulties in dealing with that. Anytime you poke a hole in that slab, it has to be checked in some way to tell where the post-tension cables are, so we don't drill through them. So thus, we have a company coming in from the Metroplex to give us that report where we can and can't drill. So it's a $1,500 expense addition. So
They're essentially mapping out where those cables
they're
are.
mapping where the cables are, where we can drill, where we can't. So it's a much better fix than what was presented to us with a bunch of ramps out in the middle of the floor, and it's not real conducive for a courtroom. Do have a meeting this afternoon for the Burke Tax Office, looking at some issues there. Have a meeting with Judge McKnight this afternoon, looking at his cabinets, et cetera, for the new 30th. Have a meeting tomorrow with TK Elevator. They did come last week and were able to get the main elevator here functioning much better. It's not, it's not near as, it doesn't sound like you're going in an elevator in a haunted house anymore, so.
Ours is currently working.
It is?
They got it up and running too. They came to ours early, it was
Well,
Thursday.
we have a new, repair technician.
Mhm.
So he's, according to Rick, he's much more knowledgeable and much easier to work with.
Yeah.
He was the one that said that he thought he could get it fixed
Well,
because the previous tech said at the end of August.
Well, right, because they ordered the wrong part.
Yeah, they got the part in, was the wrong part, yeah, typical. But we had it down last week, so they couldn't work on it.
Yep.
and
Yeah,
we
they
could-
came back on Thursday, and it was up Thursday
I
afternoon,
had
and
not been
then
told that.
Friday. So far, to my knowledge, it is still working this morning.
Well, I'll follow up with them tomorrow on my phone call to see what they found.
Did you have any luck on the, specialized thing you were telling me about reading the voltage?
I have not done that yet, depending on what the problem was with the elevator. I don't know if that's it or if that's a concern, I don't know. I'll check with them tomorrow on a phone call, what they found this time. Because obviously it was something different than the previous technician had thought. But it is good that we have a new person that's much more on the ball, it seems like.
And we had storms this weekend, so
Yeah.
it still worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have some pretty good storms over this part
Mhm.
of the city, so. Shifted some of the focus to getting the elections area up and operational as soon as possible, so when we do have a new EA, we may not have it ready for them to start exactly, but we'll have it shortly after.
Yeah. Plenty of time before.
Yeah, the mailroom is the first thing to be moved. We'll move the mailroom out, and that way we can tear down the wall between the mailroom and what used to be IT office. So that's a priority, and the law library, getting it occupiable by the end of this week is a priority. 'Cause we've let that sit too long. That's really all I have.
Have any other questions or thoughts to offer on courthouse renovation, elevator projects, or county courthouse annex? Okay. Thank you very much, Commissioner. All right, at this time, it is 11:46. We are going to move into closed session for a briefing and discussions with Wichita County District Attorney's Office regarding statewide settlement offers in the matter of Texas statewide opioid multi-district litigation. This meeting is closed pursuant to section 531.071 of the Texas Government Code, called consultation with. So at this time, and unless you are authorized to be here, we ask that you vacate the room.
suspect that,
Not yet.
dress code at that meeting next week,
Okay.
notch or two above what we're used to. That's kind of what I went and looked at online, just to see pictures.
jacket would be.
Yeah, that's what I kind of picked up.
Shorts and a jacket?
Oh, what?
Shorts and a jacket?
All right, it is 12:07, and we are back into open session to consider and take action regarding settlement terms with Walgreens, CVS, and Walmart defendants, and authorize the county judge and or other authorized officials to execute settlement participation in release forms regarding statewide settlement offers in the matter of Texas statewide opioid multi-district litigation for the county, the matter of national prescription opioid litigation, MDL number 117-MB-022804.
Can we make a motion demanding twice as much?
Well, and
How much power do we have? How much leeway do we have?
I'd make the motion that we approve as presented.
Second.
Probably a better idea.
All right, we've got a motion by Commissioner Watts, seconded by Commissioner Beecham, to authorize the county judge and or other authorized officials to execute the 3 settlement participation and release forms with Walgreens, CVS, and Walmart as presented. Do we have any comment or questions on this motion? All right, motion's before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. It is 12:08 and court is adjourned.